A beautiful mess. Performer-teacher identity in music. What does it mean to be a musician and a teacher at the same time? For this documentary, I interviewed 4 musician educators who actively teach and perform. I wanted to understand how they describe their identities, how they navigate expectations, how they move between the stage and the classroom, and how they define success in music.
Yeah, so my name is
JH, drummer, educator, and working musician. Teaches at Musicians Institute and gives private lessons. Has led over 10 drum clinics in China and Korea. Performs as a touring, session, and corporate band musician. Has worked with internationally recognized blues, rock, Chinese artists. Has been balancing teaching and performing for about 10 years.
My name is
Zhao, singer-songwriter and music educator. Born and raised in China. Released 2 albums and over 20 singles EPs since 2013. Works as a vocal and piano teacher at a community music school. Performs as a solo artist and backing vocalist for Chinese artists in the US. Has participated in a lot of TV shows and competitions, including the X Factor in China.
Okay, my current title is an
SJ, instructor at Musicians Institute. Teaches songwriting, composition, private lessons, and keyboard performance. Pianist and MD at a jazz bar called The Wellsbourne. Has performed there for around 3 years and playing 3 nights a week. Have been teaching around 7 years. Used to tour and perform with other musicians in the local club in LA.
I'm a teacher, performer.
I am pianist, keyboardist, music teacher, and touring musician. Has officially taught music for about 6 years. Has been playing music for about 15 years. Full-time law school student. Full-time general manager at a law firm. Balances music, teaching, law school, and professional work.
Theme 1, Shifting Selves. The first thing I noticed was that none of the participants describe identity as fixed. Their identities shift depending on context, career stage, and life experience. Sometimes they feel more like performers, sometimes they feel more like teachers, sometimes it's both. Their identities were context-dependent, environment-driven, and constantly evolving. This connects with Pellegrino's work on music teacher identity, which describes identity as fluid, dynamic, situated, and layered. Tucker and Adams also show that music educators often build identity through tensions, uncertainty, and changing professional roles.
When I was younger, I wanted to be a really good pianist. And then now I'm thinking music is actually way larger than just playing good in music. There's so many aspects. But I'm thinking eventually I may become more like a producer or composer when I'm getting older.
And in the past, I saw myself as a performer. But over the last few years, I've gradually embraced my identity as a teacher.
Yes, it definitely has changed over the time. For a really long enough amount of time, but when I consider myself as a musician, I was referring to someone who creates music, so creators, someone who writes, arrange, something who's making 0 to 1, something that doesn't exist to something bringing some. We make up something new that this world didn't know. For last 4 to 5 years, I haven't seen myself creating something creative. I haven't made up something that the world hasn't seen. So from someone who's making 0 to 1, I became someone who's making 1 to 0 or furthermore. And I think that's a very someone can make from 0 to all the way up to, teacher is a whole different thing. Teacher is someone who actually is, you're not making something out of yourself. You're not the primary character in this role. You are helping someone to either create from 0 to 1 or 1 to anything else or 0 to everything else.
I think it ebbs and flows. There's times where I'm gigging a lot, like I'm working a lot, or I'm on tour for, like a month or something like that. And I'm just purely in performer mode, and then there's times where I'm teaching a little bit more. As time has gone on, I definitely have shifted a little bit more to the performing aspect. I think for a lot of people, they start teaching because it's a stable job, and it gives you flexibility to work as a performer.
Theme 2, Two Musical Worlds. The second theme was the similarities and differences between the stage and classroom. Participants described performing through freedom, self-expression, visibility, and energy. They described teaching through structure, responsibility, communication, and care. These are different musical environments, but both required creativity, knowledge, and emotional labor.
Like, both performers or teachers are essentially information delivers for me.
So teaching is really good because you just get to know more about music deeply through teaching other students. And also performance is just also like so much discipline. In order to perform 1 hour, 2 hours, I have to prepare for hours or days and weeks. So I really enjoy both at the same time.
I think being a performer about self-expression, we spend so much time practicing and preparing, and when you actually get to the time to perform, it feels like freedom, Yeah. And when it comes to teaching, it's in a way it's like the opposite. There is a little bit of improvisation, but really it's more like structure, thinking critically, but in a different way. I think they both need each other, but they're a bit of opposites in that way.
But I really see this as a restaurant. It's a restaurant. There's this dish. Dish is what? Music, right? There must have been somebody who created this dish. That person's a composer. Then who is a performer? Performer is someone who delivers it. But if you think about it, you don't go to restaurants, or you don't necessarily pick particular restaurant or particular business just because you look at the dishes. Sometimes it's about someone who delivers it. What you do, how you deliver, actually absolutely has such a significant power that can change the whole entire perception of the product. At least when I teach, I try to eliminate my creativeness as much as possible. My creativeness, at least my job is to bring that person's creativeness up or open up the road for them. But when my own interpretation gets into it, it's a big effect, because when you're young and when you're not fully aware of what you're learning, especially the kids, the word that we put out, the thoughts and the conceptions of certain subject that we put on them has such a strong power. They will basically hang on to it. The definition of my circular fibs will probably stick with that person for the rest of 20 years.
Yeah.
Until someone comes in and say, hey, no, that's not how it is.
Theme 3, Seen by Others. The third theme was recognition. Participants describe gaps between how they see themselves and how other people see them. Students may see them as teachers. Audiences may see them as performers. Here, identity is socially constructed through human interaction and societal expectation. It's reciprocal. We are what other people see, and we respond to that reflection. This connects with symbolic interactionism, which understands identity as shaped through interaction between the self and others. Isabel's research on music teacher identity also shows that musicians develop occupational identity through both self-perception and how they believe others see them.
Some students, sometimes they write me a letter after the quarter, and then I didn't even realize what I did for her, but she's really appreciating, right? So probably some students see me as a very good teacher. But then most of the time, people see me on social media that, I'm performing with this person, I'm performing tonight. So
I think people see me as more of a performer, and I like to project it that way because I see myself more of a performer than a teacher, to be honest. I think I'm a better performer than a better teacher. You can still have that one tiny little piece of creativeness of your own when you perform. When you're teaching, you have to intentionally look away from what you want to do about this piece that you're teaching. You have to intentionally look away.
I don't really talk about education very much online, to be honest. And I have different circles of friends who know me as a teacher and then who know me as a performer, right? So I would say at this point, most people know me more as a performer. You know where the gap is sometimes I think people like in my performance circle don't know anything about me teaching, don't know that like I've done like, at this point, like I think like 10 clinics in like, in Asia. And then people who take lessons from me don't always know my career, they don't know my drumming career. That's where the gap is I have these separate resumes. Right.
So to be honest, most of my students they only know me as a teacher, but those people who have seen me perform, they often have no idea that I also teach.
Theme 4, the beautiful. The fourth theme is the beautiful part of this tension. For my participants, teaching and performing often support each other. Teaching helps them reflect and understand music more deeply. Performing brings real-world experience, credibility, and emotional connection back into their teaching. Their stories show that these two identities can grow together. This connects with Pellegrino's work in music teacher identity development, which explains that musician and teacher identities can inform one another.
You know, I kind of grew to like teaching a little bit more as well, and it's helped me inform my performance side of like thinking critically and being organized and making charts and being more academic. And then on the other side of things, performing has also helped me learn how to bring unique sort of subjects and ideas to my students.
But nowadays, because I'm more like jamming with a musician, not really planning anything, it became more like a jam experience. So I remembered, that I should remind the students that, if you are in the real world, you should do this, which I didn't really think it's necessary to students. But now I'm teaching students, like, you should practice this one. But in the real situation, it may happen this, so you have to be careful in this way.
If I would stop performing frequently, my teaching would become very limited. I'd be able to explain the music theory and the textbook knowledge, but I wouldn't be able to offer anything beyond that. Without this active connection to the stage, I lose the ability to share real world, and my hands-on experience. Like, to me, teaching isn't just about passing on notes. No, it's about sharing the life to the music, and I can only do that if I'm still living it myself.
Performing. But I see that the more I perform, the better I can teach.
Theme 5, the ugly. The fifth theme was about value. Teaching is meaningful and deeply impactful, but it's often given less status than performing. In music culture, the stage is more visible, while teaching can be treated as practical, stable, or secondary. This creates a value tension around what kinds of musical labor gets recognized. This connects with Fialich and Smith's teaching as work, which discuss teaching through occupational status, prestige, esteem, autonomy, pay, and public worth. It also connects with Isabel's research, where music education students often develop strong musician identities first, while teacher identity comes next.
And this is kind of like a LA thing, but if you tell someone, I teach, they're like, you're not like a real musician, like you're not a performer. There's a balance, because when you teach a lot, you are giving a lot of your ideas and energy, right? But you need your cup filled. You need to have your voice heard, and that's where the performance aspect comes into play. And the balance of teaching and performing can definitely be tricky, because there's so many things you have to prepare as a performer, and things to think about, and you're your own boss and business person, and that's a separate type of business than teaching. But the more I get into performing, and the more I advance my playing and my concept, and the more I practice and get into stuff, and the deeper I try to make my musicianship, I find it harder to teach basic things.
For me, I never view teaching as less important than performing. Every great performer, they draw their foundation from the educator. Teaching can sometimes feel more boring than performing. Yeah, and also the financial reward is often lower. I must admit that I've treated teaching as my plan B for a long time.
So if I only teach, I think I'm going to lose the little last connections to me and music if I only start teaching. Importance-wise, teaching is a lot more important. Teaching is a lot more important because you're affecting someone's musical career for the rest of their life. You're affecting you have such a big effect. Performing, you deal with 5,000 or 7,000, so many much more people, but they're going to not even remember what you even look like in 2 hours.
Theme 6, redefining success. The sixth theme was success. My participants talked about family, survival, impact, creativity, and staying connected to music. At the same time, they felt pressure to stay visible, keep performing, and prove they're still artists. This connects with Isabel's research on socialization and occupational identity, which shows that music identity develops through influential people, experiences, and social expectations. From Bourdieu's lens, success is also shaped by both personal meaning and the kinds of capital the music world rewards.
I think there's career success and there's like life success. Like, yeah, the level of career success always changes. Like when I first graduated school, my definition of success was like just pay my bills. That's it. I don't care how, like, but pay my bills playing music, right? That was my only marker. Now that I'm doing that, I'm like, okay, cool. I want to pay my bills, but also like I want to save money. That's my financial success marker, right? There's like different little boxes, right? There's like the financial success. There is the musical success, like what feels like musically gratifying, right? And then like personal success, you know, like am I connected with my family, and you know, am I building a successful relationship and all those things?
Totally, big time. Like every time I perform, I'm always compete with someone that I don't even know. I always think that my position can be replaced by other pianists at any moment, any second, because that's how I got my title as well, right? And also in the past, I was also have the other experience. Like I used to play and then I was replaced by other people, so I lost my gig. So it's always like compete, like a war in my. I can't really enjoy what I already have. So every single night, every single moment, I always do my best for it.
To me, it was my family. I started music because of my family. I left music because of my family. So it was all good until I had to become a man of the house. When my father passed away, that's when I learned, okay, can I support my family with what I'm doing right now? And the answer was I had to do a very, very, very objective observation of myself. Am I good enough to survive? Deep inside of me, I'm coming back. I need that one last thin connections to music so that I can come back later on. If I'm a musician, I'm successful, that means I can provide family with music.
So honestly speaking, relying on performing wasn't enough to sustain my life, you know, like surviving. When I first entered the industry in my early 20s, after I graduated from the music college, people had a very high expectation for me. My friends, my family, my teacher. Everyone hoped I would become a famous singer, and it feels like a blessing. You know, like over time, the blessing slowly like turned me into a very like heavy burden, because I adopted their expectation.
So maybe we shouldn't be asking, are you a performer or a teacher? Instead, we should ask, what kind of musician do you become when you are both?
Myself as a performer and teacher is an endless journey and endless conversation with myself.
My stage experience allows me to be a more profound educator, while teaching empowers me to stand on that stage stronger every single time.
Teacher is connector from people who wants to know about what this is about. They connect this into what it is. You connect from the desire to know to the knowledge. Performer or the deliverer, whoever what's there to the audience, desire to enjoy, listen, watch, and the product that's out there, you're delivering it. So in a way, it's you do great. You're taking a big role in music, as much as important as someone who created. But obviously, the core value is the creating. That's what all the art is about.
A beautiful mess. It's a beautiful mess, and the reason why I say that is because I show up and I like, you know, I try my best when I get to wherever I'm going, like my lesson or my gig, and like I try to show up authentically and like I try to be happy to be there. But sometimes people don't see the mess behind how I got to be there, you know.